Hey, I'm John Fouts. I'm back in the booth. I thought I would answer some questions. So how did I get started? I guess as a kid, I did a lot of impressions of different celebrities and political figures. And my parents were at opposite ends of the political spectrum. So there were things that I knew I could say that would crack up one or the other. And sometimes I would just forget and I'd get in trouble because I was doing an impression of someone that they thought highly of. It was all satire. I was a little kid. I was still in the single digits. So I know that probably helped me. In high school, I wanted to be a ninja. So I studied different, I know, go figure. But I studied different, different ninja techniques. And the only one that I have continued to use is to be able to yell from the diaphragm. So it doesn't adversely affect your vocal cords. It just amplifies you. So you're a lot louder. And I remember one time in high school, I was on the pier at my parents' house. And there was a buddy of mine that was probably 2 or 3 miles down the river on her pier. And so anyway, we had designated a specific time for me to go out there and to yell to see if she could hear me. And sure enough, she could. So let's see here. What else? I mean, I guess I've always had a voice for radio or voiceover. And I've had a lot of people tell me that. There was one buddy of mine, David Robinson, who kind of said, look, man, I've got this gig. Come over to the studio. Let's record your voice. And so that was in the early 90s. And or I guess the mid 90s. And so that did kind of start. It showed me what I could do, which was good. When my kids got to the age where they wanted to play action figures, we had the whole DC and Marvel universe as well as Star Wars represented in these action figures, which are behind the camera, which I guess you saw maybe in the last video. I'll try to show that off at some point. But anyway, doing different voices for different characters helped me to not just find their voices, but also stay with them and change up rapidly. Most of my kids wanted to play one character and wanted me to play the rest. So there were 2 or 3 of my kids playing. So there were 3 characters and I had to be probably 6 to 10. And that also helped me with my writing skills, telling stories, because I always wanted to end our session because we would play from 7 to 8 at night. This is after dinner and this is before they went to bed. And so anyway, but so I would do all these voices and I always wanted to leave on a cliffhanger so that they wanted to play the next night to see how things ended up. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, Batman, Superman, The Flash, as well as different Star Wars characters, which most of them had British accents, whether it was R2-D2 or Obi-Wan Kenobi. So anyway, but it was fun. And one of these days I'll do those voices. I'll just do a string of them. Who are my, who's like my inspiration as far as voiceover goes? I guess the 2 top would be James Earl Jones and John DiMaggio. James Earl Jones, of course, is, Darth Vader's voice, and he just always carried such presence, as well as Mufasa. And so definitely those. And then John DiMaggio, I discovered him while playing Gears of War, which is my favorite video game of all time. And here's this guy who you would hear him in doing Marcus Phoenix, which that's another favorite voice of mine to do as I'm playing the game. My son and I, he lives in St. Louis, so weekly we have a video game session and we talk. And if we're playing Gears of War, which we often do, I find myself talking to him in Marcus Phoenix voice. Anyway, it's just something I do. But anyway, and then of course Mark Hamill, who was Luke Skywalker, and certainly Star Wars was an influence on me, and my kids. But his version of the Joker is absolutely phenomenal, and I do a version of that. And I'm not saying that I am equal to any of these characters done by these talented individuals, but I have fun, man. And it has in ways stretched me as far as what I'm willing to do. And overall, I do the guy next door kind of voice. I do sales pitches. I do radio. But I have been fortunate enough to do some characters, including Lego Batman and and adult group from Guardians of the Galaxy 1. Trying to think who else. I also did a character which I was able to develop myself, and it was for a lesser video game, and I can't remember the name of it now. But anyway, it was kind of a Marcus Phoenix kind of knockoff. But there was a girl who played the game. It was kind of a grassroots game, and there was a girl who played the game who couldn't speak. And so she needed a voice to be able to talk smack to all the rest of the players. And so it was fun. I mean, like, it was fun to get paid to create a character and perform it. And then it was also nice to know that I enabled this girl to talk smack to all the rest of the players in the game. Let's see here. As far as, voiceover, and I do think in a lot of ways it's kind of a level playing field. If you've got the voice for a character, it doesn't matter what color your skin is, what your political views are. None of that matters. It doesn't matter your height, your weight, anything. I think one of the coolest things, there was this one guy who probably was 6 feet tall and 100 pounds wet, as we used to say in the 80s. And but anyway, that guy had such a big voice. And so it's cool when you encounter someone and your perception is, oh, they're going to have a lightweight voice, but it's huge. So let's see here. What else? As far as going back to how I got my start. So when my buddy moved his studio up to Nashville, I didn't have a place to record. I did an animated series called The New Adventures of Captain Fluoride. And so I bought a microphone and the basic gear to be able to record the different actors' voices. And I would go on location to record them. So I already had the gear, and then our master closet is pretty, it's of decent size, full of mainly my wife's clothes. And so it was a very dead room, and that's important. If you audition for anything, they want the room to be dead. They don't want to hear any kind of reverb. They don't want to hear, any ambience at all. And that helps too. If you've got a dead room, then when you have to go back and do pickup lines, if you know the character or you're just doing yourself, which I do quite often, then you can do a line and drop it right on in. And there's no ambience. There's nothing that's going to make that stand out. You're not going to hear the echo of what was there or anything. So, whatever line they decided to change. So anyway, I started off in the closet, and then I decided, and this was my wife's encouragement. She was just like, look, this is something you want to do. You're very talented with it. So let's set up a booth. So that's what this is. It's a kind of a storage closet that I've turned into this booth. And right now it's starting to pick up a lot of heat because it is the summertime. I turned the air conditioning off because I wanted this to be as clear as I was doing, some other voiceover that I'm getting paid for. But it does heat up. I'm glad that there is at least this much space. And so random thought. There have been times I've got 3 dogs, and 2 of them are quiet when I'm recording. The other is quiet until she starts snoring. She's a Pekingese Shih Tzu, and she will snore louder than most adults that I've heard snore. So there have been times where I've been directed by a client, and I've had to say, "Look, I'll be right back," and I step out and have to wake her up and turn her over, and then it's quiet for the rest of the session. So. Let's see here. I started off with a company that I will not name. I have heard that they are very disreputable, and they certainly are so expensive to go with and have them represent you. And then they didn't send me calculated auditions. It was just like, whatever you feel like you can do, here's the list. And so I would do easily 20 to 50 auditions a day, and I was not getting that much in return. And they took so much out of any gig that I got. So once I found the Voice Realm, which is thevoicerealm.com, half of what the other company was charging as an annual fee, and only 15% of the job, which I think is fair. They're acting as agent. So that was who I went with. And within the first month, I more than made back my annual fee, and I've done quite well with them. And they, the clients have the money more or less in escrow. And so they've already paid for the job. So once I'm done, then they hit the button and then I get paid. So it's very convenient. I've also connected with a group called Big Mouth Voices out of New Zealand. I have not gotten any work from them, but they are absolutely top shelf. If I audition for something, for the voice realm, I won't know whether I got the job or not unless I get the job. But they don't let me know, hey, Joe Smith or whatever got the job. Big Mouth, man, they send out an email to everyone who auditioned and say, hey, somebody else got the gig, but thank you for auditioning. Very, very polite. I can't say enough great things about New Zealand and Big Mouth Voices, and I can't wait to actually work with them. But they're very kind. Let's see here. What else? Oh, so going back to the voice realm, based upon your voice, they will send you auditions that match you. So you're not going to waste your time on, little Timmy or I don't know, somebody that you aren't. And so anyway, I don't know why little Timmy. It's I think about that Tobuscus song. That's another story from a different age. So anyway, so I guess that's about it for this session of me talking to you. From the booth. So if you have any questions, send them to me. I'll be glad to answer them. And thanks for watching all the way to the end.